Hello everybody, this is Mr. Storm, and in this video I'm going to show you what I want you to work on for this next week. So we have created a first-person shooter weapon system. We have enemies in our level, but our level's kind of tiny, and we want to practice some other things like, I don't know, building systems in the game that allow us to, I don't know, push a button and then turn on a light. Things like that. We also want to have an interesting level to walk around in and have our enemies react to our presence and do things. So really the point is we need a level. We need something more comprehensive than this little small tiny area that we've been playing around in. So what we can do, and probably the easiest thing for us to do, is let's first expand this this ground object here. Notice that it is a 20 by 20 plane. We can bump that up. Let's make it 40 by 40. Just double the size so we have a little bit more room. Now you can make yours as big or as small as you want. I wouldn't recommend going too much bigger than this. You'll find that you know, this is going to be a decent amount of size, and if you want to expand later, you easily can. There's one issue though. Our player running around on this gray landscape is going to get a bit boring. So we just need some way to separate the landscape from the enemies. They shouldn't all be the same color. So we're probably going to have a much more comprehensive conversation later about materials. But for right now, here, let me clear that out. For right now, I'm going to show you very quickly how to create a new color for an object. So what we want to do is we want to go to skin down here, and we want to click new skin, and in resource, actually we don't want a new skin. Let's clear that out. We're going to play around with materials. I don't really want to mess with skins. Let's go to material. Let's create a new spatial material, because that's better for 3D objects. And down here we have all these options that we can change. The one we're really concerned with is albedo. And if we go in here, we can change the color of our material pretty quickly. I'm just going to pick a nice dark green color. And let's play our game. So now I have a green floor on which to walk around, and it's going to separate. It's going to look different from the enemies that we're fighting. And we can even change the enemy's material as well. If we go over to enemy, we can select the mesh instance and then go to its material right up here. New spatial, change the albedo, make it nice, and let's make it red. We can save all those scenes, play again, and see what our game now looks like. So yeah, now we have red enemies against a green background. That'll be much easier to see. Okay. Now the other thing we want to do is we want to start building out this level so that it actually has objects in it that we can interact with. It's really easy to do so, actually. This ground plane that we have, we created what is called a basically a mesh so a mesh instance. It's an instance of a mesh, a 3D object. We can create as many mesh instances as we want. And make them children of the world. So let's see what other stuff we have. We have mesh instance, soft body, multi-mesh instance, navigation mesh instance, all of those things. Now the mesh instance is we're going to have to go in here and change to create a... You know what? Let's not do that. Let's not play with the mesh instances. Let's delete that node. Here's what we can do. If you want another plane like this or something for walls or whatever, I'd say duplicate. Oh, the mesh instance has the static body, which is why. Okay. And I wonder, the collision shape is set to that 20 by 20. I wonder if we'll actually fall off the edge if we don't resize the collision shape. This is going to be interesting. Let's start walking. Nope, it stayed with the entire size of the mesh instance. That was weird. That's strange. Anyway, okay. If we want to remake the ground, then we can just duplicate. And then we can bring that up for a ceiling if we really want a ceiling, or walls, or whatever we want to do. This already has colliders on it. It's already ready to go. So we can do that if we want. If we want to make it a like a wall, we can rotate. And we'd want to go in and play around with the rotation. Transform, rotate, we'll say -90. Okay, beautiful. And then we can push it back with our move tool. And we can even change the color and whatnot. So I would box in your player character in a level that they can't escape from using walls first. Okay. Yeah, so box them in. And then the other thing that we can play around with, there are, I'm just going to, yeah, whatever. There are things called CSG. I think CSG instances. Let's find out. So CSG, CSG, boxes, cylinders, mesh, all these things. So what we could do is we can create shapes, really any shape we want. Let's try a polygon. And let's zoom in on this thing. Let's fly in there so we can see what it's looking like. And it's taking forever to fly over there. Okay. So with this polygon, we have basically a square. But we have these little handles here on the edge that we can click and pull to create really whatever shape we want. Okay. And let's see. We can make like a triangle kind of shape, whatever we want, right? And we can rotate and move and do all those things. We can rotate it roughly about like that. We can move it, put it right down on the ground and make kind of like a cool, why am I rotating around that axis? That's weird. That's not what I wanted. Sorry. My navigation settings were played with. And I think I know who did it. It was me, guys. It was me who did it. All right. So yeah, we can build like ramps or whatever for our character to walk up. Make them even more extreme. You know, whatever we want. And if we want them to be thicker, we can go out this way to create more of a... Yeah, so these are going to be fun to play with. It's completely up to you if you want to play with these. Luckily, there's some ready-made shapes already. If we go back to CSG, we have cylinder and mesh and box and all of these things. I'm going to bring in a cylinder and kind of show you how a cylinder would work. We can create columns pretty easily just by sizing up a cylinder. We can make it a little bit bigger if we want to. But yeah, so play around with this, use your creativity, create a nice level for us to run around in and play around in. All of these can have static body objects attached to them, as well as colliders so that you can't run through them and whatnot. But yeah, designing levels, especially in 3D, is a lot of work. So, you know, take your time, make something that's kind of cool and interesting. And that's what we're going to focus on this week. Show me what you come up with, and then we will move on from there. All right. Thanks for paying attention. I'll see you next time.